Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, or welcome if you are new, and welcome to this franchise review series wrap up and ranking video. Now that we've reached the end of April, of course, I'm going to give you my overall thoughts on the franchise of Evil Dead, as well as my ranking of the 5 movies. Of course, I reviewed the 5 movies. Those individual reviews are up on my channel if you want to check them out, as well as a documentary review I did on Hail to the Deadites a couple days ago. But this is the wrap-up video for the entire franchise. So I'm going to rank the 5 movies first, from my least favorite to my favorite. And then I'm going to give you just my overall thoughts about where the franchise has been, where it is, and where it's going, kind of thing. So I'm not going to say too much about the movies as I go through them with my ranking, because I have a full review on each of them. So I might mention a couple of reasons, but pardon me too if I have to clear my voice and I sound a little groggy because I'm fighting a cold right now. But with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. Now let me start out by saying this ranking was hard, because in a good way. It was hard because I like all 5 of these movies. There's no Freddy's Dead here. There's no Halloween Resurrection. There's no Texas Chainsaw The Next Generation. There's no like horrible entry in this franchise. All 5 movies are good, and I wouldn't even say like okay good. I would say good. They range from good to really good to great to all time. So that has to be put out there first. So even my number 5 is a movie that I like and can rewatch. It just doesn't, like with everybody, movies hit you differently. You know, and some movies, especially in this franchise and other franchises, are going to be a little stronger for some people than they are for other people. So I wanted to just put that out there before I give you my number 5 pick, because I know that's going to raise a lot of eyebrows out there for a lot of people, because I know a lot of people have this as their number 1 of the franchise. But I have it as my number 5. But again, this is just my opinion, and I like all 5 of these movies, and this one just didn't quite hit for me the way that some of the others did higher on this list. So number 5 is going to be Evil Dead 2 from 1987. Yep, go ahead with the hate comments. Here they come. I can hear them swirling out there in YouTube world. But Evil Dead 2, it's a fun, over-the-top movie. It really is. I enjoy it. I think Bruce Campbell's really good in this movie. He really takes it up a notch. The practical effects are good. The combination of humor and horror just doesn't work for me. To me, it's much more of a funnier, slapsticky kind of movie than it is a scary horror movie. And while I do appreciate some aspects of the movie, I don't like that they repeat basically the same beats of the first movie without really changing that much up. Other than, of course, the tone with the comedy and Bruce Campbell's more over-the-top Ash performance that we come to know him as. So, I like Evil Dead 2, but it is number 5 in my ranking of the franchise here. So that's that. So, try to keep the hate comments to a minimum if you possibly can. But I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. That's the lowest of these 5 movies. So that pretty much should tell you what I think of the Evil Dead franchise. The fact that there's no movie that's even a 7 out of 10 or below. Coming in at number 4 for me is going to be the most recent entry and the most recent review I did as far as movies go. And that's Evil Dead Rise from 2023. This is a movie that could possibly move up on a rewatch. Obviously, I've only watched it once for this series. There's a lot of good about this movie, but there's some things that I'm either not sure how I feel about or I don't like. The good is obviously Alyssa Sutherland here as the mom slash Deadite demon, the main one. She takes this movie up a notch, I think, than it otherwise would be. And it's an unapologetically dark and violent and gory Evil Dead movie. Which, if you're into the Evil Dead franchise, that's what you want. As far as the story goes, I'm not sure yet. As I said in my review, I don't know how I feel about taking it. I don't mind changing the setting up, as I said in my review, from the woods out in the middle of nowhere to this high-rise apartment complex. But I don't know how I feel about the family dynamic versus like the 20-somethings. Anytime you put kids in peril, and in this movie they're all in peril. There's nobody safe. if they had a baby in this movie, it would probably have a deadite putting a hand to their head kind of thing, and you know. So I mean, I appreciate the movie for that aspect of it. There's definitely not a lot of comedy in this movie, so there's a lot to like here. But I just don't know about the story. The characters aren't that flushed out. Even the mom before she becomes the deadite. So I did give this one a 7.5 out of 10 as well as I did Evil Dead 2, but this is my number 4. It does work better for me on a horror level than Evil Dead 2 does, so that's why it's number 4 on my ranking list here. Coming in at number 3 might be a surprise to some as well, because this is a lot less of a horror movie, and that, of course, is the 1992 movie Army of Darkness, the third of the original trilogy of Evil Dead. What can I say? I just had a ball with this movie. It's just so much fun. It's my favorite Bruce Campbell performance as this character. They don't try to add horror in here. This is a fantasy comedy movie, I would say. And you know, I love the practical effects. They go more for the skeletons in this movie than they do like the deadites. But it's just a very effective dark action comedy fantasy movie to me, and you know, the humor works for me. I just kind of love everything about it, other than the fact that it's not particularly gory. I think they probably could have. I think if this movie would have been more gory and earned more of the R rating that they gave it, it might be even higher than this. But number 3, it's right in the middle, because this is going to be a highly rewatchable movie for me in the franchise. I can already tell that. So Army of Darkness, number 3. I gave it an 8 out of 10 in my review. Now we get into the top 2 here, and both of these movies are great horror movies, just like all-time great, I would say. And for a lot of people, these are going to alternate. Like, people are going to have my number 2 at their number 1 and so on. But, hey, that's what makes this fun. So, my number 2 is going to be from 2013, the Evil Dead, the remake, the reboot, whatever you want to call it, from 2013. I just love this movie. I only seen it once, obviously. But they kind of do everything right with this movie. They still use the deep forest setting with the abandoned cabin. I really think that this one might have the best character development, story certainly, which is why it's my number 2 and almost number 1. Because this is the first one I feel like the plot and the story really worked. There was some really some creative writing put into this movie. And then, of course, you got to talk about Jane Levy. Is it Levy or Levy? Somebody comment down below. I always go back and forth. But she's quickly become one of my favorite horror actresses. I really liked her in Don't Breathe, and this confirmed it for me. I think she's even better in this movie, as well as the director, Fede Alvarez. I just love his directing. This movie's balls to the walls gore. It rains blood at the end. We have big battles, big action. Yeah, this movie is great. Definitely one of the best remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's one of the best horror movies since 2000, if I'm being honest about it. This is a movie that I could see putting on when I just want a balls to the walls gore fest, and it does have some creepy parts to it as well. So, Evil Dead from 2013, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. My only problems with it was David. That character I didn't like at all, because he's the character that drives the plot forward by making stupid decisions and putting everybody else in danger. And the movie just doesn't have the grainy quality, the realism to it that my number 1 does. And that's why this is number 2. But don't get it wrong, I absolutely love this movie. But of course, I can only leave one movie, and you're probably going to think, oh, you're the old guy get off my lawn guy. And that's the original Evil Dead from 1981. The reason this is number 1 is because, to me, this is the movie that scares me the most. Like, if I turn off the lights by myself in my house at 1:30 in the morning, and I put all 5 of these movies on, the remake reboot will have a few scares in it. The Evil Dead Rise might give me one or two, but this is going to be the hardest one. This is the one that's going to force me to look over my shoulder the most. And since this is a horror channel talking about horror movies, this has to be the number one horror movie of this franchise, because to me it's the most horror. Now, yes, I know it's over the top in terms of the gore and the story, the characters even to a certain degree, even though they didn't go full on comedy here. Excuse me. But I just love this movie. I love the cheesy 80s-ness of it. I love the fact that this was, I love Bruce Campbell in this movie. I love the Sam Raimi being a first-time director doing this movie. Just everything about it really works for me. I thought it had a really good, not a good story, but the characters, I think, are the actresses are the most well-known of the franchise. What else can I say about it? I mean, just watch my review. You'll know why 1981's The Evil Dead is my favorite of the franchise. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Just a great, great horror movie. Definitely one of my top 25 horror movies of all time. Yes, I can already make that declaration, despite the fact there's a lot of horror movies I have yet to watch. I know that this is going to be in my top 25 of all time. So, as I said, I gave that one a 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my ranking for the series here. I'm glad to have all 5 of these movies. It's a very solid franchise, obviously, as I've said. There's not a dud in the bunch here. All 5 of these are highly rewatchable. They all have good things about them in their own way, and it really just depends on how horror, humor, comedy, action, how it all comes at you. If it works for you or not. And I love this franchise. I actually think this is one of the most consistent franchises, probably right up there with Scream, as far as not having a dud in the bunch and keeping a fairly high quality to the entire franchise. So it's interesting because they did the first 3 movies within 11 years, and now we've had the last 2 movies in the last, 32 years? Going back to Army of Darkness, it was 32 years we've gotten 2 movies. So I have to believe that they're probably going to do another one. I don't know if it'll be a direct sequel to Evil Dead Rise. I wouldn't mind it, frankly, if somehow Alyssa Sutherland can be back. I'm not sure how all that would work, but she's probably my favorite character in this whole franchise. Like, even though she's an evil demonic character, other than Ash, of course, who's the hero of this franchise. But yeah, just a great, consistent franchise, the Evil Dead franchise. I look forward to what they do going forward as far as movies go. I know there's Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV series, which I have not seen. From all accounts, it sounds more like a little bit more comedy, more of like the Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2 kind of tone than the horror aspects, but I'll still watch it at some point. There's only so many hours in a day, and I have so many movies in my collection that I have to get to yet. But yeah, what else can I say? I think the thing I appreciate about The Evil Dead is there's something kind of for everybody there. If you're somebody that really likes the comedy and the over-the-top gore and slapstick, you've got those movies. If you're somebody that wants a protagonist that's over the top, you got that. If you're somebody who wants a really dark, violent, they've got that. And then if you're somebody that's just a gore hound, these movies, at least 3 of the 5 of them, are definitely for you. There's some great performances in here as far as actors go, led by Bruce Campbell. Some great directing by Sam Raimi and Fede Alvarez particularly. Besides Bruce Campbell, you also have, as I said, Jane Levy, or Levy. Somebody let me know. I don't know the correct pronunciation, but and Alyssa Sutherland as well, I'll throw in there. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I'm excited to rewatch this franchise, especially for 3 of the 5, which I've only watched once so far. I'm excited to especially give Evil Dead Rise a rewatch, but even the remake as well, the reboot from 2013. So, with that being said, I think we're going to wrap up this series. Go ahead and comment down, put down below in the comments what your ranking of these 5 movies would be. If you have arguments with me, that's fine, but keep it, don't be a hater. Just keep it not clean, because you can swear. I don't care about that, but just don't come after me like I'm an idiot or something. Everybody's got their own opinions. Everybody's hit different ways with horror comedy, especially. I got to get off here before I hawk up a loogie, but But yeah, comment down below. Comment also what you think of the entire franchise. I hope you enjoyed this April 2024 franchise review series of the Evil Dead franchise. I certainly enjoyed rewatching or watching these movies for the first time and bringing it to you, getting different perspectives on the different movies. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell down below, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my great horror content or videos. May and June and July are going to be very exciting. That's all I'm going to say right now. You'll have to tune in and tomorrow, actually, for what those months are going to entail as far as horror content goes. But a lot of great stuff beyond that, too, in the rest of the year. So with that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. But as always, stay scared. Bye.